As always, we had a fantastic trading week in the daily market breakdown videos. That being said, let's get right into this week's Forex Forecast. Alright, starting this week's Forex Forecast off with the DXY, the US dollar index. So as you can see, we removed this supply, and this was a significant supply zone because it was tested once and twice, and it also removed this upward trend line on the daily chart. So it was very significant. So when it was removed by this demand zone at 104.37, I'm not surprised to see the move up, and we barely contacted the zone before we got a massive push up. In the DXY, there still is no trend here on the daily chart, but in my opinion, things are looking really strong on the DXY. And the next thing I would be looking for is to kind of break the highs, which would be right here on the daily chart, which would give us a daily uptrend. But more importantly, I'm looking to see that weekly uptrend by removing this high here that is located at about 107.32. So if we can remove that, that would be a very, very bullish sign on the DXY as far as the weekly chart goes. Now on the lower time frames, on the 4-hour chart, a significant thing happened here as well. As we broke the highs here, we had a pretty clear peak, valley, and higher high, which has given us a beautiful 4-hour uptrend. There is no trend line here, but I definitely call this an upward trend. Now we have another test at this point. You can see we have clearly slowed down here and we are pushing down. Why is that? Well, I don't really like to think things are just random. We have a supply zone from back here. That was another significant supply zone that we even had a reaction off of it. So I'm not thinking that we will, get another move all the way down on the dollar. However, I would be lying if I'm saying it hasn't been tricky to trade the dollar. The last couple weeks, it's been kind of just up and down and just all over the place. So it has been tricky. So, but based on my experience, I'm not really expecting a massive push down. Maybe we could get a push down to like the 105.26, 105.2 area, and then eventually rally up. The reason I'm saying that is because, yeah, we are getting a reaction off the supply, but it's pretty tested. So if we do end up removing that supply on the 4-hour chart, that would be pretty significant in my opinion, and that would be enough evidence for me to suggest that, hey, maybe we will be breaking the high here, which would then give us that daily uptrend on the DXY again, which is really what we are looking for. So there is no trend on the daily chart on the dollar. However, we do have a daily demand zone in control. There's really no supply up here at all, in my opinion, as far as significant supply goes, as far as my chain analysis goes. However, like I said, the daily demand is in control. Things are looking pretty strong. We have strong trends on the 4-hour chart and on the 1-hour chart. So in my opinion, longs are going to be fine on the US dollar as far as the US dollar pairs goes. It doesn't mean we won't be able to get some shorts, but however, since there's no daily trend and there's no weekly trend, it is difficult to trade right now, and that is why I'm going to be pointing out probably both longs and shorts in the upcoming analysis in this video. Alrighty, on to the Euro USD forecast. So kind of the opposite of the dollar here. We had the supply. We didn't hit it though on the Euro chart, and that's fine. It's not super significant. But again, the next thing we are looking for is basically that low to be removed, which would then give us the downward trend on the daily chart, which would be significant. But honestly, things are looking weak here, in my opinion. Remember from last week's forecast, we had the downward trend line, we had the daily demand zone that removed the trend line, and we got 2 reactions off of it. So, that being broken is pretty damn significant in my opinion. Now on the 4-hour chart, we have a beautiful trend to the downside here. On the 4-hour chart, we have demand zones being removed. This one is currently being respected, but there's a couple options here as far as trading goes. On this 4-hour chart, since we have the downward trend line, as long as the downward trend line is being respected, 15-minute time frame shorts are going to be fine. So if you're on a 15-minute chart, we're hovering around here, you definitely could be looking for shorts in that area on a 15-minute time frame. So the reason I'm saying that is because we have a 4-hour downtrend. That's why I like that. Now, if we do get a pullback all the way up to 1.078, I think it's a decent area to look for shorts as well. And as always, if you don't feel comfortable just with a sell order here with a stop above and a take profit below, that's fine. You could wait for the zone to be hit, look for confirmation on a day trading time frame in there, that's fine. But I do like this drop-based drop as a potential short if you are bearish the Euro US dollar. And obviously above, we have a clear peak up here with a supply zone above. I like those types of zones. So if we do end up blasting through that supply, pushing up to this supply 1.08, I still think that's a decent area to get a short trade at as well, up there, as it's a potential support, or sorry, as potential resistance area trap. But this is the nearest sell area in my opinion. And again, since we have the 4-hour downward trend, we could be looking for the 15-minute time frame shorts. Now, if you want to get a little bit more aggressive, we have a 1-hour supply zone here. We actually did catch a supply zone trade from back here. You can see my red circle. We did get at least a 3, almost 4-to-1 move off of that supply zone, and that was called out in the daily market breakdown videos, which are basically these forecasts, but throughout the week. If you guys want access to that, check out the Diamond membership. Links are in the description down below. We'll be happy to see all serious traders join the team. We have the daily market breakdown forecasts. We have video lessons, private Discord groups, Sunday Zoom sessions where we talk about strategy and much more. Check it out. We'll be happy to see you guys join the team. And on the 1-hour chart here, if you want to jump the gun, get a little bit aggressive, this would be our nearest 1-hour supply zone, just like this one back here. We didn't get a massive move off of it, but I think we could maybe see a small move, at least to the lows, maybe a little bit lower at 1.07. So this would be the nearest area to potentially get in short, in my opinion. And if you guys remember, we had the H4 downtrend. We also have a 1-hour downtrend as well, which means you could also add 5-minute time frame shorts. And even in this supply zone, if you think, hey, maybe we're going to pull up higher, but I still want to get involved in this area, then you could look for 5-minute time frame confirmation coming off of that 1-hour supply if you want to be a little bit more conservative. So it's really shorts all the way. I'm not really seeing any reason to be looking for longs at this point in the euro until we can get some demand zones. But like I said, it's shorts all the way on all time frames, in my opinion. Pointed out a few supply zones we could look for shorts at here on the euro US dollar. All right, on to the forecast for gold. So on the daily chart here, remember guys, we had that beautiful trend to the upside. We broke below the trend line, leaving us with a supply. And I still think it's possible we do react off that supply, but that'll be kind of for another video. I really doubt we're going to get there this week. It's possible at 2407, but just not really that likely. So we're not really going to talk about the daily chart. However, I just wanted to point out that we clearly have lost momentum on the daily chart, which is going to play into the higher time frames. The big question is, will we be pulling back down to weekly demand? And since we did break that daily upward trend, that is evidence to suggest we could be pulling back down to that weekly demand. So if you are short, that is where our profit target would be long term, 22.19. That's more for you swing traders out there. Now on the 4-hour chart, with a beautiful 4-hour downward trend. What that means is, since we have the trend line here, at any point, if the trend line's still holding, 15-minute time frame shorts are going to be fine, guys. Definitely could be good, in my opinion. Kind of similar to the euro US dollar. So as long as the trend line's holding, 15-minute time frame shorts are good. We are seeing some strength here as we come off demand at 22.96. Now, I'm very honest in my forecast, guys. This is not a demand zone I would be looking to trade at. This is a zone from a while ago. Pretty sure we already got a trade off of it from before. You can go back and watch the forecast from back in April. And that's the reason I wasn't really looking to trade this area, because you already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 6 reaction off this zone. So I am surprised we are getting reaction off of it, but I just want to be honest with you guys, it's not really an area I had on my charts to look for trades at. But again, trend is looking pretty strong to the downside, in my opinion. So I think looking for shorts on those time frames is going to be fine. Now on the 1-hour chart, we have a 1-hour supply that is in control right now. However, it is tested at 23.33. So it was a rally-based drop supply zone. And what I don't like about the supply is it's a very obvious peak. You can easily peak above it, kind of stop everyone out like that. However, if you are bearish right now, you could be looking for 5-minute time frame shorts off of this supply if you think we're going to drop down. Now, if we break up and we break the supply and break to the high and we hold up here, that would be a pretty bullish sign, and it could be evidence to suggest we could be breaking the 4-hour downward trend. But like I said, this trend is looking strong. If we push up and respect it, I think we are probably headed back down to that weekly demand zone. But if we break above the supply like that, and the downward trend line, and we remove it, at that point, I think we need to switch to potential longs, because remember, yeah, we could be looking for shorts with this 4-hour downtrend. I totally agree with that. But remember, it is counter trend to the weekly chart. We are basically predicting, because the daily chart has gone sideways, we are predicting that we are going to get a pullback, and predictions are aggressive, but they're fine. So that's kind of what I'm thinking out here on the gold chart. I think we could pull back to the weekly chart, but we really have to be monitoring this 4-hour downtrend. So I know there's not a whole lot of zones for me to point out here. Hopefully this all makes sense here on gold. Remember guys, any questions, do not hesitate to leave me a comment if nothing is super clear. I respond to every single comment on the video as long as I see it. All right, before we get into the analysis for the USDJPY, I just want to remind you guys, all ad revenue from these weekly Forex forecast videos is donated to my local hospice. So make sure to hit that like button so more people can be sent this video, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It's for a good cause. So as far as the weekly chart here goes on the USDJPY, beautiful trend to the upside. Just want to point out the higher time frames here. Trends to the upside on the weekly chart. We go into the daily chart, we have trends to the upside here as well. We have demand zones being respected. We are floating around the high, but honestly, things are looking really, really strong here. And on the 4-hour chart, it's a little bit more clear. We have a beautiful 4-hour trend to the upside, and what that means, also, we did just remove a significant area of supply on the 4-hour chart, and demand zones are being respected at 155.70. Unfortunately, at this point, I do not see any zones really on the 4-hour or the 1-hour chart, but as long as this trend line is holding here, guys, 15-minute time frame longs are going to be really good in my opinion. So if you're a day trader, you're in luck. I would definitely be day trading this trend on the 4-hour chart. And what's beautiful about it is, okay, yes, we have a 4-hour uptrend. That's fantastic. But if you zoom out, we have a daily uptrend and a weekly uptrend as well. So you're really, really trading with the trend if you are day trading at this point. Now on the 1-hour chart, unfortunately, I'm not seeing a whole lot either here, guys. If we do pull back down to this demand zone, let me just actually adjust it just a little bit. If we do pull back down this 1-hour demand zone, it's all right. It's just super obvious in my opinion at 155.99. It could be a move we see off of that zone. It's just not the best zone I've ever seen. It's just kind of an obvious zone. Not my favorite in my opinion. If we do remove the high here as well, at that point, 5-minute time frame longs will also be good in my opinion. But for now, I would definitely kind of just stick to the 50-minute chart to be day trading the USD yen to the upside. Unfortunately here, a little bit of weird whippy price action, a lot of wicks, not really super clear in my opinion. However, like I said, trends are to the upside, demand zones are being respected. So at this point, there's not much else to say other than be looking for potential day trading longs on the 15-minute time frame as long as this upward trend line is holding on the 4-hour chart. All right, on to the British pound, and every week we do your thoughts on the British pound. So let me know in the comments down below where you think the British pound is headed, or what your thoughts are in general. Comment down below. On the daily chart here of the pound, this is where I think we are headed midterm to 1.259. It's a very, very clear and obvious area of demand. I'm not saying we're going to get a massive move off of it, but supply and demand kind of acts as magnets here, guys. Yes, we will wick above it sometimes. Sometimes the zones fails. That's fine. But I just want to point out this is our midterm target if you are bearish. So I think that is where we are headed on the pound. Now, on the 4-hour chart, something significant has taken place. We had a demand zone at 1.267 right here. This was an obvious support resistance trap area. That is why I liked it for potential longs, and we've clearly seen a reaction off of it. Do I think we will push up and break to the the highs up here? Probably not. But if you want to look for longs on a 50-minute time frame, or if you aren't a member and you weren't long from this zone to potentially push up to 1.27, you could be looking for 15-minute time frame confirmation longs as we come off of this demand zone. The target would be pretty much to this 4-hour supply. Doesn't mean you have to just take profit here, guys, but it could just be an area, okay, if we push up to here, maybe move your stop from break even to halfway up, kind of lock in some profit in case we push back down. Because I do think, since we are headed to that daily demand zone, in my opinion, I think we will see a reaction off this supply zone. It is a great supply zone. It removed a demand zone. It removed a very good looking 4-hour upward trend line. So I think we could easily see the move from demand to supply and then back down again. This is the move I think we could see on the 4-hour chart of the British pound. So definitely have your eye on this 4-hour chart at 1.27. And look, if we break that supply zone, that's fine with me. We can then look for longs off of a zone like that if this does take place. But in the meantime, I think we will be moving from demand to supply and then potentially back down again. And the reason is, like I said, guys, supply and demand acts as magnets for price. So I think we could easily kind of just see a small move off the demand zone, hit the 4-hour supply, and then push back down to 1.259 at that daily area of demand. So let me know your thoughts on the pound. What do you think of these two demand and supply zones? Do you think they will hold? Do you think they will fail? What do you think is going to happen, guys? I'm curious to know your thoughts. Alrighty, on to the USDCAD. Just want to point out the weekly chart here. There's not much to go off of here. Just a pretty much sideways rectangle mess at this point. Nothing that is super obvious or clear. So just want to point out there's not much to talk about as higher time frames go. Even on the daily chart, just kind of a sideways soup. Not really too good at all. But on the 4-hour chart, we did catch this beautiful 4-hour area of demand at 1.36. Now, this was a zone we pointed out in the daily market breakdown videos for the Diamond members. So congrats to anybody who caught that setup off of that 4-hour zone. Not a huge move, but we did get a beautiful move off of the zone. The next thing we would be looking for, since this trade has already played out, is looking for this high to be removed. If that gets removed, we'll have a good trend line up, and we could be looking for longs. We are kind of floating around the highs, so looking for 15-minute time frame longs isn't the best idea. However, it is fine in my opinion. It's just a little bit more risky than looking for 50-minute time frame longs as we were down here coming off of demand. That's why I think breaking the high would really prove, hey, we're really going up here. Beautiful trend line. At that point, it would be super good for longs. It's just not amazing right now at this point. Even on the 1-hour chart, just kind of a lot of sideways action. We did have demand down here, kind of wick below it. It's currently still being respected. It's just not super great. If we do push up, we break the high here. Okay, then we'll have a 1-hour trend to the upside. At that point, 5-minute time frame longs would be good. But until then, I would kind of hold off on at least in the 5-minute time frame. I wouldn't be looking at anything on the 1-hour chart right now. Unfortunately, the trade's kind of already played out. So that's why I do the forecast throughout the week, because I can't always just predict these moves and the zones before they happen, obviously. So that's why I do the forecast throughout the week. But things are looking pretty strong here on the US dollar. I'm not super eager to get in long. I am not a day trader. However, if you are, I would definitely be preferring longs, as we do have demand zones in control and the dollar is looking strong here on the USDCAD. Alrighty, on to the forecast for the Aussie US dollar. Remember, we do have a daily supply in control. It is not super significant, as it had already been tested back here and tested a bunch recently in the past month or so. So it's not super significant. However, I think we could easily push down to demand at 0.652, very similar to the GBPUSD. So we do have a daily supply zone, in control. That is significant in my opinion on the Aussie. Now, the issue with this is we don't even really have a trend on the 4-hour chart. This is just a whole lot of sideways price action here. It is not super clear. Even the supply above that I've marked, it's not amazing. However, if you are bearish and you want to predict the trend, which would be if we break the low here, if you want to get in short because the daily supply is in control, this would be our area at 0.66. Now, I do think extra confirmation on a 15-minute or a 5-minute time frame would be better, because the zone is not that great on its own. So it would definitely be safer in my opinion. Even on the 1-hour chart, there's not a lot going on. It's just huge move up. We kind of filled in this gap here. It's not super clear. But remember, higher time frame trumps all, which is why I think we could easily see that move down because the supply is in control. And this is a fresh, untested area of demand. I think that's where price could be headed. If you go back and watch the GBPUSD analysis, it's kind of a similar looking chart in that sense. Look, if we do break this low here, maybe you get a nice trade off the supply. We push down, break the low. At that point, we'll have a 4-hour downtrend, and then 15-minute and even 5-minute time frame shorts are going to be good. But until then, I would just hold off. This is really our only area to look for shorts at this point. Maybe we don't push up to the supply and we break the low there. That's fine as well. Then we'll also have a downtrend still, and then the 15-minute time frame and the 5-minute time frame shorts are still going to be good. So it's really all just about waiting for a pullback to this supply zone like that, or breaking the low to then get a trend to look for shorts on the day trading timeframes. And look, if we blast up here, break the highs, break all of this supply, that's fine too, because then any demand zone that's formed here, Then we could look for longs off of that because that would signal strength. But in the meantime, we have supply we could look for shorts off of and then wait for this low to be removed. And then so we can add 15-minute, 5-minute day trading shorts on the table here on the AUDUSD. Alrighty, on to the USDCHF. If you remember from last week, I believe I pointed out this daily zone. We got a beautiful move off of it. We had supply above. I thought we easily could react off the supply. Doesn't look like we're going to get up there. And now we are back in for, it's been tested once, twice. This is the third test of this demand zone on the daily chart. I am expecting it to break, but it doesn't mean we will not get another push up potentially to this supply. So if we do push back up to this supply at 0.90, I still think it's a great area to potentially look for shorts. It's a very obvious support and resistance trap area. We definitely could see a move off of it if we do push back up to that supply. I don't really like the idea, like let's say you do think that's going to happen. You think, I think it's going to go up to here and we're going to push off of it. I don't really like the idea of getting long at this demand zone anymore. I liked it originally and we already kind of got the move off of it. So at that point, you know, I personally would have been stopped out at break even because we pretty much pushed almost up to the high. I definitely would have moved my stop from down here to break even. So I would have been stopped out at break even. But at this point, guys, it's so tested. I don't really want to be getting in long up here. So there's really two options for trading this one right now. We have the option to wait for this area for shorts at 0.90. If we break the low here, any 4-hour supply zone there, we could look for shorts off of like that. And obviously we'll have a downward trend line if we do break the low, and at that point 15-minute and 5-minute time frame shorts are going to be good as well. So it's really all just waiting for a pullback to this supply zone like that, or waiting for the low to be removed. At that point, we could basically be shorting any supply zone here, just like we want to do up here, and then the 15-minute and 5-minute time frame shorts are good. And hopefully you guys are understanding why I like that. There's no trend here in the 4-hour chart. We are going sideways. This demand zone could still hold. That's why to add in day trading shorts, I want to see that low removed to prove to us we have a new trend line that could be respected to add in shorts. So until that takes place, I would just be holding off, waiting for that 4-hour supply to be hit above, or waiting for the new 4-hour supply zone to be hit and the low to be removed, so then we could add in day trading shorts. Remember, guys, we have a daily zone in control as well, a daily demand zone in control, and even a weekly zone in control. But remember, things are looking pretty weak right now. I wouldn't even go into the weekly chart here. Yeah, we could technically be looking for longs. It's just looking weak in my opinion. So if we do push up to this supply up here and we break it at that point, then I'll be looking for 4-hour time frame longs. But until then, I think shorts are going to be fine here on the USD Swiss franc. Alrighty, last but not least, we're on to crude oil. If you guys remember from last week, we've been pointing out this daily demand zone. You can go back to February. I've been pointing out this daily demand zone for so long. Unfortunately, it's taken us a century to pull back into, but beautiful move off of it. Now we are basing out right at this trend line, which is evidence to suggest we could easily be blasting through the trend line, which is what I hope we can get, because I am long from that daily demand zone here on oil, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So we have a couple options here on crude oil. So since the daily demand zone is in control, yeah, we technically have a daily downtrend, so it is a little bit risky, but honestly, I think we are going to get a push up to the upside still. We have a 4-hour supply zone in control, so we either want to wait for that supply to be taken out like that, leaving us with a 4-hour demand zone. We could look for longs off of like that, or if we push down to this demand down here at 76.26, I still like that for potential longs as well. So these are the two options as far as the 4-hour chart goes. Now if we go to the 1-hour chart, we pretty much have a sideways junky mess right now. There's really no demand zones I'm looking for pullbacks to. We already got a pullback to that zone. We already got the reaction off of it. So at this point, I want to see this high and the supply removed. And at that point, we'll have a 1-hour uptrend again, and then 5-minute time frame longs will be good again. But until then, we are just sideways on this 1-hour chart. So I don't really like the idea of just hopping in long, like I said, until we can remove that high. But remember, like I said, the daily downtrend is still holding, but honestly, I think we are going to break it. That is just kind of my gut feeling right now. I don't really like to go off of gut feelings. That's why we are waiting for 4-hour demand to be hit, or waiting for 4-hour supply to be removed, or waiting for a 1-hour trend line to then look for longs here on crude oil. If you guys want to watch the full-length forecast with all the other markets, Make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.